This is Golf with Jay Delsing. A two-time All-American at UCLA. Competed in nearly 700 PGA Tour events, 7 professional wins to his credit. Over 30 years of professional golf experience. A member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame and the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
Welcome into Golf with Jay Delsing on a Sunday morning here on 101 ESPN. With Jay Delsing, I'm Dan McLaughlin. As always, we come to you from the CarShield Studios, and we're presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. A couple of great guests will be with us in studio. Jeff Smith, you know the voice, you know who he is. He is managing partner of Walters Golf Management. He'll be our guest. And also Miller Brady, president of the Champions Tour, and we'll get some insight on the Ascension Charity Classic. But Jay, it's a Sunday morning. That means we're off and running here on 101. Good to see you.
You too, buddy. Good morning. Great week. Players Championship week. It's not the greatest field that Players Championship has ever had, but it's really awesome, fun event to watch.
Players Championship, and then I'm going to go back to last weekend. But the Players Championship, a lot of people consider this the fifth major, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. And up until Liv raised its ugly head, this was without question the best field in golf. It was just everybody's. It's the Players Championship. You want to win the Players Championship, and you want to beat all your other players. And it's anybody that's been exempt for the last year and a half or so. And it's you know what, Danny, in terms of betting and in terms of the golf course it's the most unpredictable golf course on the PGA Tour. Meaning, next month when we go to Augusta, the winner of that championship 80% of the time comes out of the top 16 players in the world. This one, it's wide open. There's very little, if any, qualifiers for how to pick. You've got a Craig Perks and a Stephen Ames and a Fred Funk, yet you have Hal Sutton, Tiger Woods, Justin Thomas, Rory, Ricky. So it's wide open because it's all because of the golf course. The
Players Championship, the Players Stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. So if you're watching today, what are some of the unique holes or some of the interesting shots that you get out of this course?
17 is the thing that, Danny, it enters your mind.
It's so much fun.
It just, as a player, it enters your mind, and you are trying to just get it out of your mind and stay in the present because it's the 17th hole. I mean, guys have counted. There's like 168 steps between the 16th green and the 17th tee or something like that. It's a spectacle. It's scary as hell, the shot, and it is absolutely theatrical. Ricky Fowler, for example, birdied that hole on his 71st hole and then twice in a playoff when he won. So you could see all sorts of things. There's plenty of splashdowns, and a lot of guys go swimming on that hole.
So just a week ago, Bay Hill, Scotty Scheffler wins at Bay Hill, goes to the mallet putter. It was interesting to see how well he putted, changes his putters, and he was methodical all weekend long.
Yeah, especially on Sunday, Danny. He did not miss a putt inside of 15 feet. I can't even imagine that. I've never had a day like that. And I just ordered one. I just ordered myself a mallet, Spider. Huh? I'm going to try. Why not? I mean, I'm a dinosaur when it comes to changing my stuff, man.
Well, let's talk about this. Yeah. The difference between a blade and a mallet, what is it?
Yeah, so the blade just has very little there. It's like what Tiger Woods uses. It's an old ping style, for lack of a better comparison, even though most of us are putting with Scotty Cameron's like that. I have an old teardrop that's a blade. So a blade from the face of the putter to the back is no more than an inch and a half. A mallet looks like it can get 24 to 48 channels on your TV. It looks like a satellite dish. Some of them are huge. The putter that Ricky Fowler's putting with is as big as a dinner plate, it looks like to me, So I'm old school, and I've never really messed around with a mallet, but it's time to get rid of. Hell yeah, why not?
I'll tell you why not, because I watch you putt. You don't need to change your putter.
Man, it's been a slow spring, D. It has been a slow spring. I've been throwing parties for you guys.
I'm telling you.
I got to find myself, man. Oh, no, it's so much fun. The weather is really turning, and we just need the golf courses to catch up. And, there's some aerifying and things like that. But it's just awesome to be outside again. And we have so much fun.
We do. Scotty Scheffler, man, if he's going to hit the ball like he does, which is consistent, it seems like every weekend, if he could get his putting to match what he does in ball striking, it's over.
It's good. 100%, Danny. It's a route. It's going to be a total dominance. If you would have told me that when he first got on tour and I watched him play a little bit and saw him play, I thought he's a short game. He's got short game wizardry. He looks great with his up and downs. He looks great with that wedge and putter. And then all of a sudden he has taken, now his putting has lagged, no question about it, until last week. He finished 5th in strokes gained putting. And the last time he played in LA, he finished DFL, dead last.
It's hard to believe.
It's hard to believe. So,
and still he's got top 10s all across the board, top 5s. He's winning again.
Absolutely. What's amazing to me is his hitting. He looks so, for lack of a better word, I'm going to call it sloppy with his footwork. He's got his right foot sliding out and sliding behind him as he gets through the ball, but he's so stable on that left foot, and he kind of shuffles around to catch his balance, but his ball striking, it speaks for itself. He is entering the most rarefied air in terms of ball striking, and I never thought we'd see it again, but it's Tiger back in the 2000s and back then when he just put on a clinic.
Scotty Camerons were always so popular. You've used them. You've had different variations of them over the years. If you're a golf fan, you've heard that time and again. Why were they so popular? Why are they so popular?
They were the first milled putters. One of the first milled putters. And what Scotty did was ingenious. He copied all the best old designs and just gave them new names. And so he didn't really come up with many new putter styles. He just came up with better made putters, better balanced, laser milled. So you can get, I've got a putter, one putter, an identical putter that's got 4 degrees loft on it. Got another one that's got 4.5 degrees loft on it. So it's that specific, and they're just fantastic. Titleist made a push back in the day, Danny, to start paying us to get that putter count up because they had just bought the Scotty Cameron company from Scotty and took it inside the Titleist and the Acushnet umbrella. And so because of all the financial clout they had, they wanted the ball count high, which they always get, and then they started paying guys to use that. And when I started messing around with them, they seemed to be the best putters anyway.
I find it really interesting that you talk about loft on a putter. I think that would shock a lot of people.
Yeah.
They just think it's a flat stick.
Yeah.
You're going to roll it, and that's how it goes. There's actual loft.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very minimal, but there's loft on a putter.
Absolutely, because now we have these high-speed cameras, Danny, that show exactly what you want your ball to do. So when you strike a putt properly, the ball does get in the air a little bit. But what's really important, and this depends on your hand position and a little bit of the face angle, you don't want that ball getting up in the air with a lot of backspin on it. You want it just hugging the ground with almost no spin on it. When you hit it dead straight, it just rises off the grass, and then it starts rolling as soon as possible. That's the truest way to putt. If the ball goes up in the air, Danny, it's almost like a mini wedge shot. It hits with that little, if it goes too high up in the air, it's got backspin on it. So it actually checks when it hits the green, and that's what makes it wonky on breaking putts and putts that have to have that perfect speed to go in.
As they went to the Players' Championship this past week, a lot of questions about the state of the game. Rory McIlroy said something I didn't necessarily agree with. I want to get your thoughts, but he's all for less players and less tour cards and the best of the best. So cutting down the fields, making it the best of the best, and I don't necessarily agree with that. The underdog is a fun thing to watch, and how much are you going to cut it? How many players make? the chance to play in these tournaments. That's the beauty of the game of golf in many ways.
Oh, Danny, I totally agree with you. And it's interesting and that's easier for me to relate to because I was more of a journeyman when I played. Rory came out on tour and won 4 majors in his first couple of years. He went into rarefied air. Now, he hasn't won a major since. He's won a hell of a lot of money. But, it's easy for him to say, too, because he's pretty much locked in. And so it's hard for players to respond without having their own self-interest get in the way. But Danny, so think of it this way. My rookie year on the PGA Tour, 1985, I was on the Player Advisory Council. Super cool thing for me. Had no idea what I was doing, right? I get on there, and Lanny Watkins stands up in the first 5 minutes and says, I think we got too many players out here. It should only be top 30, and everybody else can go home.
No way.
And I'm like, I just got my card. I mean,
right.
I've played like 3 tournaments. I'm like, okay, have a nice career, And so there's got to be a way. There's got to be a format or a formulation to get the best players playing in the world. I don't agree. I know the sponsors would much rather have Rory not miss a cut, but I think if you pinpoint most of the sponsors, they're going to say, hey, it's part of the meritocracy that we love. Rory didn't play well. Well, I don't want to, just because he's here and he's shooting 78s, do I want to see that? He's not a massive needle mover. Now, we get into some other issues, Danny, like what is the right number? Why would you not want to maximize? The number is so small anyway in relation to all the other sports and our population and everything else that's going on. How are you going to do it?
Right.
And how are you so you're going to go to 50 and then you're going to relegate 10 each year and then only 10 guys get a chance to play on the PGA Tour? I mean, you're killing careers and potential Hall of Famers that way.
So you're walking into these rooms as a player's rep, if you will. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
You think about in baseball, there's a player's rep for the union. So you're one of the guys walking in that room.
Yeah.
You're a young guy, eyes wide open over some of the issues. What was it like?
It was insane. I didn't say a word for like my first 4 meetings that I just listened to. So I realized right away that the better the player you were, the more your opinion got counted more, which I couldn't stand.
So it just carried more weight.
But it doesn't mean you're smarter.
Right.
Just because you won more golf tournaments. Now, some guys might have a more sharper opinion and a more well-read opinion, but that's not the case, Danny. I've seen it. I mean, Scott Hoke, as good a player as he was not the brightest bulb on our circuit and was not anybody that would have an opinion that should have been weighed any more than anyone else. That's part of what the PGA Tour problem is. We don't have enough really smart people running our ship that has foresight, that is out trying to get in front of issues. Look at what's happened with Liv. We knew Liv was coming. They've been trying for the whole time. Why were we not out in front of this thing?
I would say this. I bet the majority of your conversations circulated around this, and certainly now the majority of conversations circulate around what I'm about to say, and it's money.
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So here's what's on the table now. All the Liv guys went and got absurd amounts of money. Amen. Okay? They took the money, fine. All the suing, all this other stuff has pretty much gone away, but that left a bad taste in my mouth personally. You made your bed, lie in it, go ahead. Now the PGA Tour guys are saying, whoa, what about us? We didn't go. We need to be paid. Really? Wow. So now they're going to be paid, and the top 36 guys are going to split $750 million.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It is.
Let your choices and your decisions have some damn consequences.
Have you had the chance to check out Full Swing? It's in its second season on Netflix.
No, but I can't wait. And it's on my. I just don't watch that much TV, but yeah, it's on my list.
Would it have bothered you as a player if they said, okay, this particular episode, we're gonna mic you up, we're gonna go behind the scenes, we're gonna see how you travel, we're gonna see you with your family, we're gonna see the good, the bad, the ugly on the course? Would that have bothered you as a player, or would you have had the foresight back then to say, you know what, maybe uncomfortable a little bit, but this is for the betterment of the game?
I think that would be my answer. Initially, I'd say no way. Just it's too hard. I swear a lot when I play that they're going to need a button.
But that's the beauty of it.
Well,
seeing the nitty-gritty of
it's
it,
just life, and the behind-the-scenes thing. The only thing I would have thought of is maybe, my daughters, do they need to be exposed to any of the, not exposed to me? Do I want them on TV? I don't know. I think
that's a fair point.
I don't know about that. That would have been my only drawback. I probably would have said, come on out on a time when I'm on my own, and go ahead. I mean, I'm going to Southwest Airlines, baby, and I'm lugging my junk up there to the Sky Cap, and I don't have a private jet. So, would that be interesting? I don't know.
I would have loved it.
It'd be relatable. You could say
that's the whole point.
It'd be relatable. So, yeah. So now we got the guys that didn't go are expecting to be paid. The guys that did go got paid, and then there's going to be a point in time where they have to draw the line, and then they're not going to pay anybody below that line, and it's insanity to me. I just don't get it.
This really frustrates you, I know.
It's
frustrated you the last 2 years.
It gets me wound up. I hate the fact that we're going to turn on the Sunday round at the Tournament Players Championship, and we don't have DJ, and we don't have Rom, and we don't have Cam, and we don't have Bryce and DeChambeau, P. Reed, breaking a rule somewhere over here on the left or right, and some of the other guys, Koepka for sure. I mean, I don't know what. I just read a survey on the way in here, Danny, and it was a small survey, but it was all patrons at TPC. They surveyed 33 people. 16 said, let them back. 13 said, no way. And the other, what's that left? 29. And the other 4 said, I don't even know what live is.
Really?
Yeah. They said, I don't even know what live is. And
they've been living under a rock?
Yeah, I know. Some of the guys said, no way do you join these forces. Danny, there's no way we can't join. There's no way.
For the betterment of the game, it's going to have to happen.
Eventually.
Now you're going to have to cut up the pie and figure it out. Selfishly speaking, if I was one of those people that was having a chance to vote, I would have said I want to see it back. I want to see a combination of something, but I want to see these players back.
Yeah.
And I think the game needs it. I mean, when they were on the West Coast swing early on down in Florida, you just didn't even know some of the – now you're in the weeds of this stuff. Me, I knew some of the names, but the casual fan had no idea about the leaderboard.
No, I totally agree, and that's a problem. But, you get these young men, they start playing better, and before you know it, they win 4 or 5, and they are the names, and they are the story. So it's interesting, but I totally get it. I mean, I turned on the Mexican Open, and I was like, wow. I mean, the first 2.5 pages of the leaderboard were names that nobody would have known.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so it's not a great look.
No, I mean,
it's not a great look for the tour. Danny, I'm going to give some love to some tournaments here real quickly, if you don't mind.
No, let's do it.
SSM Health and Physical Therapy, they've got their Run for the Missions. It's the 21st of April. It's at Creve Coeur Park. It's Colton's cause. There's a great story about a young man named Colton and what he meant to his family and community, and a great guy. So get down there. Check-in's at 7:45. The race begins at 8:30. Our buddy, Kent Scornia, that owns Trilogy, his son Blake has put together this really cool event. 2 of his buddies' moms just died of ovarian cancer within the last year. Okay, they're putting together, so the Delta Tau Delta House is playing the Alpha Tau Omega. I don't even know any of these Greek names.
I guarantee they're going to have a lot of fun, though.
There's going to be a lot of fun. They're playing down at Old Hawthorne, down at Mizzou, and it's called the Okra Ryder Cup, and Okra stands for Ovarian Cancer Research Alliance. These guys get on this website, folks. Check it out. They're raising money for this great cause to support their classmates and their classmates' families, and that's super cool. And the last I want to give a pitch to is the St. Louis Junior Invitational. It's held at Norwood Hills, June 19th and 20th. Your kids have both played in it before. Jimmy McLaughlin does a great job of running that tournament, and we're looking to expand the fields, get more kids from different states, good players in there. You can visit www.stlgolf.com junior.com or email jpm@stlgolfjr.com. So this is the St. Louis Junior Invitational. It's at Norwood Hills. It's June 19th and 20th. And we've got the Bob Phillips Shining Light Scholarship. Bob passed away last year. He's a great guy. Loved the game. Norwood member, USGA supporter. So there's some scholarship money available for players out there. It's definitely something to look into.
Okay, coming up, you had the chance to visit with Miller Brady. He's the president of the Champions Tour. What are some of the subjects that we can look forward to after we take a quick time out with Miller Brady?
So, Danny, we talked about the Champions Tour is kind of drama-free tour. And I really want people to understand where the Champions Tour fits in. Like, why is there a Champions Tour? And no other sport is there the second bite at the apple, so to speak, So we asked about that. We talked about total number of purses. We also talked about Tiger. Be careful what you ask for, is what I said. Is that's kind of the case, Miller? Because he says, absolutely, Jay. He goes, if Tiger commits on the Friday before, we are probably not prepared enough. And
understaffed and for security, all that stuff.
I even said to him, you may not have printed enough tickets.
Sure.
I mean, think about it. What if 100,000 people? It's crazy to think, but that's what he does.
So is the indication that he is going to do this and appear here and there, or is he just going to stay away from it altogether?
The tour's response is that we are monitoring Tiger's health more than anything. Obviously, the PGA Tour wants him playing. Everybody in golf wants this guy playing. It's his health. So when he's still a year and 10 months away, 9 months away, something like that, as it gets closer, they said they're going to be in constant contact with his people because nobody knows. He said he can't wait to get a cart. And he's also told our old buddy Nick Ragone that he was coming here, but it's at a cocktail party 100 years ago. We'll see what happens. But if he does, they want to try to get a jump. Miller talks about a jump on him and preparing him in the city, because Miller talks about having gathering his team, and they basically had a whiteboard session that was all about Tiger. What do we need? What do we have to do? What additional checklists and things have to be done in order to make this thing kind of Tiger ready?
So Miller Brady is coming up. Later in the show, near hour number 2, Jeff Smith. He's the managing partner of Walters Golf Management, and he was very close to a very good friend of ours, Jay Randolph Jr., and I know you wanted to tip your cap to Jay.
I did. Danny, we both miss Jr. We love Senior. He's been a staple in the sports world here, and especially media-driven in St. Louis. So we're tipping our cap to the entire Randolph family, Jay Jr., Jay Sr., Judy, everybody over there. Our tip of the cap is brought to you by the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. It's 314-966-0303. Any sort of make or model, Colin is your guy. He's terrific. The Randolph family has been part of St. Louis sports landscape for what, Danny, 50, 60
At
years?
least, yep.
Remember your dear friend Mike Shannon, God rest his soul, and Jay Sr. were doing ball games when we were.
Well, they were going to the track. They were doing ball games. They were playing golf. If it was there, they were doing
a lot of different things. And then Jay Jr. was one hell of a player. He got a golf scholarship to the University of South Carolina, played with a good buddy of ours, Brett Quigley, and could really, really play. He had a great radio show for 20 years that he did with Smitty, who's coming on the show later. And he had a laugh that was infectious, Danny. He was just a guy that you loved hanging around, and just the fact that he's not here, there's a big hole in everybody's golf heart, And so our we just want to tip our cap to the whole family, the whole Randolph family, and the tip of the cap is brought to you by Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. That's at 314-966-0303, and thank you for that, D.
You got it. That is Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Coming up, we're talking about the Champions Tour as Jay has a visit with Miller Brady. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing on 101 ESPN.
I'm delighted to welcome the Amateur Players Tour to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. The APT team has worked so hard to establish a national golf tour for amateurs. Folks, don't miss out on this opportunity. If you love golf and ever wondered what all the fuss about tournament golf is, then this tour is for you. We just released the 2024 schedule, and it is a beast. There's 21 events currently in the metropolitan St. Louis area with many more to come. But check out these golf courses: Paynes Valley, Ozark National, Stonewolf, Ambrier, Persimmon Woods, Gateway National, and a 36-hole event on Norwood's West Course, and many more. Okay, so the courses are certainly cool and nice, but what's really neat is the way the events are run and how they are run. The APT team does a fantastic job of closely monitoring handicaps and ensuring a good and fair competition. There are 5 divisions, a year-long points competition, major championships, elevated events, and much, much more. Right now, there are over 6,000 members in 41 different local chapters across the country, and all that's happened in just over 5 years. Join now and don't miss out on the best tournament golf in the country, run for amateurs by amateurs themselves. Go to amateurplayerstour.com. That's amateurplayerstour.com.
Get ready to watch the legends of golf up close when they compete at historic Norwood Hills Country Club right here in St. Louis. The Ascension Charity Classic will be back again with some of golf's greatest names: Steve Stricker, Padraig Harrington, John Daly, David Duval, Bernard Longer, Justin Leonard, David Toms, and more will compete, returning September 3rd through the 8th. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com for information.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions.
Hi, this is Peter Jacobson, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Are you driving an out-of-warranty car? It's only a matter of time before your out-of-warranty vehicle is in the shop costing you thousands of dollars. Auto repair costs are up nearly 20% from last year, which is 4 times the rate of inflation. If an unexpected breakdown happened today, would you be ready for that? Well, now you can be with a plan through CarShield. Even if your car is just over 3 years old, it's still prone to expensive costs. Your car is more than just getting you from point A to point B. Traveling by car is a way of life. From picking up your kids to going to a new restaurant, cars are a daily essential. When you enroll in a car protection plan through CarShield, you can look forward to the following. The price will never go up no matter how many claims you file, or no matter how high the mileage on your car increases. CarShield offers protection plans that start as low as $100 per month. That's $100 per month. They have repair coverage for up to 5,000 different parts of your vehicle. Plus, when your car breaks down and you're stuck on the side of the road, you get 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance. You also get complimentary towing and rental car options. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down, and they can have yours too. Call CarShield today at 800-465-6550 or visit carshield.com. It's CarShield, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing. To connect with Jay, log on to jdelsinggolf.com. You'll see the latest in equipment, find the latest innovations in golf, and get tips from a PGA professional. That's jdelsinggolf.com.
If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, any make or model, then you need to visit the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. They are the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show. My daughter and I both drive vehicles supplied by Colin and the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, and it's because we know we can trust them. They made the car buying experience painless and easy, and their customer service is second to none. Every single step of the car buying experience was taken care of for us. You can reach Colin at 314-966-0303, and he will answer all of your questions and put your mind at ease. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood has new or pre-owned vehicles to be purchased or leased, whichever you prefer. Once you visit the Dean Team Volkswagen on Manchester in Kirkwood, you'll be a customer for life because they will treat you like family. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
This is The Front Nine, presented by the Ascension Charity Classic. To learn more, visit AscensionCharityClassic.com.
I am sitting down with the president of the PGA Tour Champions, Mr. Miller Brady. Miller, thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, Jay, thanks for having me on. Greatly appreciate it.
Well, you know what, buddy? I know you've been working for the PGA Tour for over 20 years now, and we appreciate your support and your service, but I don't know if we've ever seen an odder time in golf.
Yeah, well, clearly the past few years have been extremely odd for the entire industry in golf. We're going to get through it, right? It's going to take time, but I focus on the Champions Tour, and I would actually say that we're a little bit isolated right now, and we remain that way. And I'm not saying it's been helpful, but we're trying not to be distracted by the noise in golf.
Yeah, no question. And I mean, the PGA Tour Champions is really drama-free. I mean, it's still a phenomenal product. Let's talk just a little bit about the benefits of playing the Champions Tour. And the second opportunity for we players, Miller, is really special.
Yeah, it's funny. You said it right. It's a second lease on life. There's no other sport where at age 50 you can still compete at a really high level with significant earning opportunities as well. So the guys that come out really, really appreciate the opportunity. But probably more importantly is they appreciate the fact they're there. They appreciate the sponsors. They understand why it is that they get to play golf for a living. And so like the experience in the Pro-Am is, to me, I'm a little biased, but to me, it's the best B2B experience in all of sports.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. And it's interesting when you play on the regular tour, there's much more of an edge. You're younger. There's much more egos, I think. And maybe just overall uncertainty as a player. And when you're talking about, turning 50, you've either been run over a bit and you've kind of rounded some of those hard edges off, or you've just, you've accomplished some things on the regular tour. And now it's time to not necessarily give back, but be just so much easier going, so much more sponsor fan friendly. And not that the regular tour guys aren't, but it's just different.
I think you're spot on. I mean, it's definitely different. I mean, these guys, if I ask them to help me out with a sponsor during a given week, they'll do it, provided that they don't have a conflict with their schedules. But, go to a cocktail reception, go to a dinner, come to the draw party. Our guys do it because they know at the end of the day, it's the right thing to do, and it keeps our tour, in a healthy spot.
Oh, absolutely. And talking about a healthy spot, Miller, how about $67 million that the PGA Tour Champions is playing for this year? That's amazing.
Yeah, we have 28 events playing for just north of $67 million, which is the highest in the history of our tour. And look, my job is trying to not only provide playing opportunities, but to continue to increase prize money. And we do that where we can, right? It's not paramount. But it's important that we show growth within our tour. And we've been able to do that through, our great partners, our great sponsors, week in and week out, and the awesome communities where we play.
Yeah, it's interesting, Miller. When I was not first playing, but kind of in the middle of my PGA Tour career, there were a hell of a lot more Champions events, and there were almost, I think, north of 35, and I think the number that we have now is about right.
You're right. At one point, there was north of 35 events on this tour. We're at 28. And I do think that the sweet spot is really somewhere between, the 25 and 28 number. But we're strategic in the way we go about that, because we want to play 2 or 3 events in a row, take a week off, 2 or 3 in a row, take a week off. We're not going to play opposite the main on the PGA Tour, the Players Championship, U.S. Open. We're going to take a break there, and that allows the guys to take a rest, but it also helps ensure that each of our fields are as strong as possible.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing, and I'm visiting with the president of the PGA Tour Champions, Mr. Miller Brady. Miller, one of the things, there's a couple things that are that the Champions Tour fits so nicely in terms of community, and we raise over $40 million in charity, which is just amazing. And a lot of the communities that we play in do not get to see professional golf or really, really great golf like a PGA Tour product.
I think that's another great point, because, we're in markets that are really serve the Champions Tour really, really well. And they're also markets where the regular tour's probably never going to play. So when we come to town, sometimes we're the biggest show in town, whether it's St. Louis, Des Moines, Iowa, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The community rallies around it. We have an economic impact. We have a charity impact, and it is such a good model for us. And we're really lifting the brand of the overall organization in markets, like I said, where the regular tour may never play.
Yeah, Miller, great point. And one of the things that I the PGA Tour, and in order to have a PGA Tour event in your hometown, you are talking about so much financial commitment from somebody that I don't want to say they price themselves out, but the Champions Tour is such a better deal. And I've read so many times where different corporations are talking about the Champions Tour being the best financial deal in the market.
You're exactly right. I mean, I'm bullish on that. I think that our value that we provide at our price point is the best in all of sport. Not only when you compare it to other golf, but maybe other sports as well. I think that our price point's fantastic. The sponsor value, that the return that our sponsors see is meaningful. And, they're entertaining clients, they're getting brand value, and they're also providing charitable impact in the community.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get opportunities like that where they all align themselves so much. Miller, when we first brought the Ascension Charity Classic to St. Louis, I actually had a couple buddies that said, I ran into Ernie Els out there, and I said, yeah, he's really a nice guy. They said, no, I literally ran into him because he was rounding a corner, and, it was just indicative of stuff that happens out there, that it's so much more relaxed, and the guys will sit and talk to you and things like that, and that just doesn't happen on the PGA Tour.
Well, you look at the draw party each year for the Ascension Charity Classic. All of our guys, they come, and it's that laid-back atmosphere, indoors, outdoors at the club. I mean, it's a really fun setting every Tuesday night during the tournament.
Yeah, it really is, and they've done a great job. So, Miller, let's talk about, I don't know how we describe the Tiger issue for the Champions Tour, but I'm really sincerely hoping that he decides to play. But, man, I was telling people that if Tiger decides to play in St. Louis, we need to start hiring security and more volunteers now. I mean, it'll just be untold a boon for the Champions Tour and golf in general, I think.
Hopefully Tiger stays healthy. Assuming that he does, we don't know, is Tiger going to come out and play 4 events? Is he going to play, 10 or more? Whatever he does will be fantastic. To your point, I had our whole team sit down, and we did almost a full day, a half day brainstorm, whiteboard, just writing everything down, that if Tiger were to play, are we ready for it? And the short answer is there's not a single tournament that's prepared for what would happen. Security, buses, the media center, the concession stands, just every single aspect logistically that goes into it, ticket sales. Our tournaments are going to have to really ramp it up. We're going to put together, for lack of a better term, a Tiger plan. If Tiger commits late on a Friday to a tournament the next week,
oh boy,
I think we have a problem. So,
yeah.
Part of that is us trying to get to him ahead of time to understand where his head is and what he's thinking. And, while it's never too early, we hope to be able to have some of those conversations over the next year with Tiger and his team.
Well, hell, Mill, you may not even have enough tickets printed. I mean, to even sell, if the effect that he can have is nothing like the tour's ever seen, the Champions Tour's ever seen.
No, I think that, like I said, we would have to be strategic. We even may have to limit what we do so that you're still providing a quality experience for the spectator, because you don't want it to be a poor, bad experience, waiting in concession lines, waiting for buses too long. It just it needs to still be a great experience for everybody.
No, absolutely. It would be great. It's kind of that good and bad. It's got to kind of be careful what you root for, right? Because you're like, yeah, we'd really like to see that. And like, oh man, now what do we do?
It'll be a good problem, hopefully, that we have to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, you got to tell us a fun story. I think in 2019, you guys were in the Champions Tour was in Japan, and you got called into caddy duty kind of at the 11th hour.
Oh, wow. So it was we're in Japan. We're playing at Narita Golf Club, and I think it was our second time playing at this venue. And Tom Watson's caddy is nowhere to be found 10 minutes before his tee time. So, and it's raining, Jay.
Oh, perfect.
I walked up to Tom and I said, Tom, what do you want to do? I guess we need to find you a caddy. And he goes, yeah, my guy's not coming. Let's find a caddy. And I said, well, Tom, I'll caddy for you. And he looked at me and he said, that'd be great. And it's like, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, exactly.
I went and put on rain pants, found a bunch of towels, threw on my rain jacket, got an umbrella, went to the first tee, and I'm like, what am I doing? So it turned out to be a phenomenal day. It probably rained 3/4 of the day. All I did was try to keep the clubs dry and hand him whatever club he asked for. Rake a couple bunkers. He actually played pretty good. I think he shot 2 under maybe. Could have easily been 4 under. Wonderful experience, but I have all the respect in the world for these caddies because I could barely move when I finished. Jay, he had the big bag, single stroke, and I was sore for days.
Oh, Miller, what you don't realize is that when it rains, everything you need to basically be an octopus. You've got to be a strong octopus because you're going to carry around a 50 to 60 pound bag for about 6 to 8 miles, and you're going to be starting and stopping and walking up hills. Oh man, you couldn't have got an 85 and sunny degree day. That's probably why his caddy didn't show.
It's exactly right. But look, I did it. I have a great respect for all the caddies that do it day in and day out. And I actually think that maybe they respected the fact that I took that leap and did it with Tom.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was awesome for you to offer, and probably good that Tom said yes. Miller, lastly, as we wrap this up, and again, thanks so much for joining me. And this is Miller Brady. He is the president of the PGA Tour Champions. Where do you see the Phil and the Liv guys if we can reach a deal? I know it's a big if, and I know there's going to have to be a lot of regular tour regulations rewritten and things like that, but it'd really be nice to have those guys play the Champions Tour as well.
I mean, look, a lot of those ultimate answers are out of my control. I have would we like to see some of those guys back? I think definitely. I mean, there's good personality. So if there's a path back for them, not only would I like to see it, and I think the tournaments would like to see it, but I also think our other players would like to see those guys come back under the right circumstances. And so hopefully that happens. Hopefully we figure out this and the noise goes away and we can focus on just playing golf and making a difference in the communities where we play.
Yeah, the things that resonate to me about the PGA Tour is playing golf at its highest level and raising money. And, you know, those two things, the fans and all that sort of stuff hasn't even been brought up, it seems like, in months and months. But we here in St. Louis appreciate you, Miller. We appreciate the PGA Tour Champions. We sure, the Ascension Charity Classic for sure. We're really looking forward to this year and hopefully the tournament moving forward.
Yeah, Jay, we love being in St. Louis. We love the Ascension Charity Classic. Can't wait for September. And, we look forward to a long, long future of our tournament in St. Louis.
Thanks for joining me today, pal. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
That was the Front Nine on Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by the Ascension Charity Classic. We're halfway home, and next, we'll make the turn.
Do you remember the golden rule? I'm sure you do, but just in case, it goes like this. Treat people the way that you'd like to be treated. At People's National Bank, that one statement is the cornerstone of what this bank is all about. Locally owned, with 23 locations in Southern Illinois and the metropolitan St. Louis area, People's National Bank parlays a robust menu of commercial or personal banking services you could possibly need with a friendly yet hardworking Midwestern attitude. Maybe you just want to do business with a bank whose entire team lives in the same neighborhoods as we do. If you're like me and doing business with someone you trust is important to you, then People's National Bank is the bank for you. Jason Rantham, local president, is here for you to call, and he'll answer any questions you may have. His personal cell is 314-974-2243. You can also find us online at peoplesnationalbank.com. People's National Bank is here for all of your banking needs.
Hey, St. Louis, Eddie McVeigh here from Maggie O'Brien's. When you head downtown for a concert or cards or blues game, and now for the St. Louis City soccer game, please come see us at Maggie O'Brien's before and after your event. Take our shuttle to and from, or stay in-house and watch your favorite team on our multiple high-def TVs. We look forward to seeing you soon at one of our 2 locations in Sunset Hills on South Lindbergh or downtown at the corner of Market and 20th Street. Union Station is next to us.
Hey, Jay Delsing here, and I know I speak for all of we golfers. We're always looking to try to improve our game. For me, that means I go to one place, and that one place is Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. Tom DeGrand opened his family business in 1975 with a goal of providing St. Louis with the finest in golf equipment, instruction, and technology. Whether you need a new rangefinder, your first set of clubs, or anything else you can think of, Pro-Am Golf has just what you're looking for. If you're a scratch handicap or you carry a 20 handicap, come visit Pro-Am Golf and inquire about a lesson from Tom DeGrand. He's been fixing golf swings and making St. Louis better at golf for over 40 years. Go get your gear, lessons, or anything golf-related where I go, and that's Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. You can also visit them online at Pro-Am Golf USA. That's ProAmGolfUSA.com. It's Pro-Am Golf, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. At FGLC here in Kirkwood, we feature a double-decker driving range, 2 large grass tees with Tahoma Bermuda grass. You want to work on your short game? We have a short game area too, which features a 20,000 square foot green, 3 bunkers, and Zoysia surrounds. Also at Family Golf and Learning Center, don't forget about our 9-hole par 3 course, the indoor TrackMan simulators, and our performance center. If you're looking for the best golf instruction, regardless of skill, we can help. Find out more at FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
Powers Insurance and Risk Management is a family-owned local business that's been helping our community for over 200 years. In the always confusing world of insurance, Powers Insurance provides clarity, exceptional service, and the latest in cutting-edge products to deliver the highest quality in property and casualty coverage, as well as strategic planning consultation services. Powers Insurance and Risk Management will partner with you. That's right, they'll partner with you to customize the right coverage for you and your family. Tim Davis, Chief Operating Officer, will personally sit down and talk you through the ins and the outs of your policies. They are experts at helping you control your workplace expenses, helping to guarantee the safety that you and your employees need. You can visit them at powersinsurance.com. That's powersinsurance.com for all your insurance needs.
This is Paul Lazinger, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
So you've been hearing me talk about one of our community's greatest contributors and most philanthropically inclined companies. Yes, of course, I'm talking about Marcone. They're the largest distributor of General Electric appliance parts in North America. Did you know that Marcone is also the largest and most trusted supplier of commercial and residential appliance parts, HVAC, plumbing, commercial kitchens, and pools and spas? All of that's in North America as well. That's right, Marcone does all that. Marcone is committed to supporting our first responders, all the branches of service in our military, our police and firefighters, and many more. From the viewing deck at the Ascension Charity Classic, founded in honor of our military heroes, to their commitment to Wreaths Across America program, Marcone is here for you and your family as well as your community. That's Marcone, the official sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing. The Back Nine is presented by Pro-Am Golf, located in Brentwood. See what Pro-Am Golf can do for you.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing, Sunday mornings, every Sunday on 101 ESPN from 8 to 10 with Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Really enjoyed your visit as we come to you from the Car Shield Studios. By the way, our show always brought to you by Darty Business Solutions, but really enjoyed the visit there with Miller Brady, the president of the Champions Tour.
Yeah, Danny, really good guy. Has been working for the tour for over 20 years. And just, the Champions Tour is playing for north of $67 million this year. And it's interesting, D, because once upon a time when I was playing the regular tour, there were almost 40 events on the Champions Tour. And there was this, Hale Irwin was having this dominant year where he won 10 or 12 events, something like that. And there was this massive concern because our PGA Tour purses weren't that high yet. And there was this big concern that the leading money winner in golf might come from the Champions Tour. So they have made a commitment to, I would love to see 40 Champions events. If they had 40 Champions Tour events every year, I would have been able to get out there enough and have a halfway decent career at it. But the way that it is now, my number never comes up. I had to go out and qualify, which I did for about 3 or 4 years after my back surgery, and it was okay. But I probably played 15 or 20 events. I've only had a couple top tens, and but it's awesome the way it fits in, Danny. We raise over $40 million a year for charities. It's in now, I don't want to say secondary markets, but it's in markets that the PGA Tour just doesn't ever get to. For example, the PGA Tour gets to St. Louis all the time. Ours is a great supplemental Golf Jones here. Think about this. We were talking about this too, D. This is the 4th year of the Ascension Charity Classic. We're seriously in talks with this thing, continuing with some new sponsorship, which we certainly hope it does. Miller talks about that a little bit, where he says, we feel really good about this thing continuing. In 2026, D, we got the BMW, and then in 2030, we got the President's Cup. So there's just a lot of really fun golf in St. Louis. But then there's places like Des Moines, Iowa. That's not getting a major tour event anytime soon. Same thing with Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and places like that. So this tour fits in there beautifully. And then the biggest thing, Danny, is what we hear back from the sponsors all the time, in that the value for their money is tremendous. It's not the huge commitment that's getting bigger out on the PGA Tour. And the players are just so much more relaxed. Miller said, hey, if I need a player to go to a dinner with me, man, I call Ernie Els, and he's like, sure, let's go. If that was a regular tour, you called Justin Thomas, you think he's going out to?
Not a chance.
Not happening.
No.
That is not happening.
I would think that this in St. Louis, and I'm not just trying to be a homer, but this has got to be the prototype for what other markets want. And I would imagine that Miller feels that way too, just because of the support corporately that you get here, and then also with the fan turnout that you get every single year.
No question. And I mean, he talked about the bones of the tournament, the HNS group, and Dan Sullivan and his team, Tim Heitman, Alonso, Ellen, all those guys over there, Connor, they do a great job. And then he talked about Norwood, the membership at Norwood, and the corporate citizenship in St. Louis knocks everybody out. It's been absolutely unbelievable what the corporate community has done.
You have such a unique perspective on this. You are a member at Norwood, but play in the Ascension Charity Classic. So let's talk a little bit about the membership and what they do and that they give up the course. And it seems like, now you may have a few people that say, I don't like my course I don't like to give it up. It's something I don't want to do. But I would tell you, overwhelmingly from the people I talk to, they love it. They think it's a great thing for St. Louis, and they're more than happy to step aside for a week, give up the course, and say, this is not only good for the community, but this is good for us. We're on the map with Norwood nationwide with this tournament.
Yeah, no question. You hit the nail on the head, and the number of members that get in there and volunteer. Danny, how about, and you emceed this thing last night, the Tuesday night pairing party has become legendary. Miller brought that up in the interview as well, where he talked about, what about that? He goes, I think last year in St. Louis, every single player showed up.
Is that
that's
right?
Unheard of. Yeah. So, I mean, remember the food, the spread, the ice sculptures, the music. You were emceeing inside, you were emceeing outside, you were everywhere. It was super fun. And, people take notice of that sort of things.
You're going to play this year?
I sure hope so. I
have an exemption, right?
I haven't. Yes, I think I do. I have not officially inquired, but I do believe I'll have an exemption.
How do you get your game then ready when you start here in March and try to have it peak at the right time in September?
I try not to break too many of my clubs the way I'm playing so poorly right now, but I've done my stretching. I feel good, and I'm hitting the ball all over the place. It's reps for me at this point now. I just don't have any feel. How many times, when did we play? I don't know, whatever last week. How many times do I have these little bitty wedge shots in the fairway that are typically my bread and butter? Sometimes I'll even make one, and I'm hitting them 15, 20, 30, sometimes not even getting them on the green, 20, 30 feet away from the hole. So I just need more reps. Need more warmer weather. We need the ground to just kind of catch up now to the weather, because we're playing off a lot of our zoysia, which is a great surface to play off when it's growing, is still dead. And so it's kind of like hitting off a straw or something, And so, listen, it's all excuses. I don't have any touch or feel right now. I don't know which end of the putter to hold, and I'm hitting my drive. My misses, last time I played, I think I probably hit 10 really good drives, and the 4 that I didn't hit were not okay. They were the horse's rear end is what they were. They were stinky, and we couldn't find them. So right now my misses aren't staying on the planet, and that's not typical for me.
But that's the last thing to get for any golfer, isn't it? The touch around the greens, that short game, and trying to prepare yourself just to get ready for the summer months, because you're trying to get that touch and that feel back. Yeah, absolutely. And it comes back. It's like this every year for me. I don't like to admit it, but it's like this every year for me. This is a tough time of year for me. I have seasonal allergies that I have for another couple of weeks, so I'm always sneezing. My eyes are itchy. It's just uncomfortable. And then the golf courses, and we say this all the time, they never play harder. They're not in their best condition. The greens are certainly not smooth. And if your golf course is 6,500 yards long, it plays 6,500 yards long, and then some because of the wind. How about the other day when we played and the wind was blowing 25? It made it a little tougher for me. You can handle the wind. I can't handle any of it. Sometimes I handle. Again, I hit a couple of. How about our boy Joe? Our boy Joe hit a couple of bank shots off the trees, screamers up there, banking it off the side of the bunker, going up next to the hole. Man. Anyway, it's so much fun. But before you know it, Danny, these fairways will be greened up. They'll be able to cut the greens regularly. Some of the Not hitting off of mats.
Oh man, I can't wait for that. But also, you get the aeration, and it's a must. You have to do it. It makes your greens way better. But man, when you're putting through all that sand, it is no fun.
I want to go back to mats just for a moment because a lot of people have been hitting off of those all winter long. That's all you have. You got to go out on the mats. There's no grass available. But when you give a lesson, you take people on the course.
100%.
You're giving them the actual shots that they're going to hit.
100%. Bunkers, short game, everything. Tee shots especially. Here's the problem with the mats. Obviously, they're rubber and some synthetic material, right? And they're sitting on concrete. I mean, you are going to be able, there's a degree to where you can hit your ball fat on a mat and still see it and think it flies. Now, it sounds a little funny, and you really have to hone your touch a lot to know the difference. But sometimes, you sit there and you go, I did not hit that well, and the ball just flies just right. And that's because it bounced. Because if you hit a little fat, sometimes it'll bounce into the ball. Whereas you're on the golf course and you hit a little fat, that's not bouncing into it anywhere.
No, it isn't.
A fat. It doesn't go half the distance.
All right, tell us about our next guest, and he's going to be in studio. I see him just standing outside our window here at 101 ESPN, and that's Jeff Smith, who is the managing partner, Walters Golf Management. We both have known him for so many years, but on the golf side, I really want to get into a lot of the projects, a lot of the courses that he's managing. There's a lot of good things to talk about in golf with Jeff here in St. Louis.
Oh, first of all, Smitty's a great guy. He has been synonymous with golf in St. Louis for 35, 40 years, right? He was 10 years, I think he worked he was the executive director of the Gateway section, and from there he went into the golf management side with Denny Walters, and now Denny's passed, and he's still holds the name and does some stuff with Bogey Hills Angel and her brother Denny Jr. out there. So Jeff is just one of those guys. He's a big guy. He's got a big voice. You know where he is all the time, and he and Tom O'Toole had a lot to do with getting golf. The amateur side of golf, Danny, organized and on the map in St. Louis back in the 90s. Yeah, and so you have the Metropolitan Amateur Golf Association. You've got the Gateway section. You've got a lot of things that those guys have put in motion that we're all enjoying the benefits of it. I can't wait to ask Smitty about something that's near to both of our hearts, is the Normandy project.
Yep.
We've both been part of several meetings there, and so that's going to be really fun to talk about.
Okay, he's coming up. That's Jeff Smith, managing partner, Walters Golf Management. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing as we come to you from the CarShield Studios.
Redbird Heating and Cooling sponsors the Veterans Vocational Apprentice Program. Jed Dickinson, a retired Navy man, will teach, mentor, and sign off on educational and mechanical work hours to help you get fully licensed while you work and get paid by the company. What a great way to launch your career as a fully licensed HVAC specialist. Call Redbird Heating and Cooling today at 314-320-9507. That's Redbird Heating and Cooling.
Hello, friends. This is Jim Nance, and you are listening to Golf with my friend Jay Delsing.
Hey, this is Jay Delsing for SSM Health Physical Therapy. Our golf program has the same screening techniques and technology as the pros on the PGA Tour use. SSM Health Physical Therapy has the Titleist Performance Institute trained physical therapists that can perform the TPI screening on you, as well as use the K-Vest 3D motion capture system. Proper posture, alignment, etc. can help you keep your game right down the middle. We have 80 locations in the St. Louis area. Call 800-518-1626 or visit them on the web at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Your therapy, our passion.
Get ready to watch the legends of golf up close when they compete at historic Norwood Hills Country Club right here in St. Louis. The Ascension Charity Classic will be back again with some of golf's biggest names: Steve Stricker, Padraig Harrington, John Daly, David Duval, Bernard Langer, Ernie Els, and more will return September 3rd through the 8th at Norwood Hills. All tournament proceeds go to area charities serving North St. Louis County youth and families. Sponsorship opportunities, Pro-Am foursomes, and more information available for you at AscensionCharityClassic.com.
I'm delighted to welcome the Amateur Players Tour to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. The APT team has worked so hard to establish a national golf tour for amateurs. Folks, don't miss out on this opportunity. If you love golf and ever wondered what all the fuss about tournament golf is, then this tour is for you. We just released the 2024 schedule, and it is a beast. There's 21 events currently in the metropolitan St. Louis area, with many more to come. But check out these golf courses: Paynes Valley, Ozark National, Stonewolf, Ambrier, Persimmon Woods, Gateway National, and a 36-hole event on Norwood's West Course, and many more. Okay, so the courses are certainly cool and nice, but what's really neat is the way the events are run and how they are run. The APT team does a fantastic job of closely monitoring handicaps and ensuring a good and fair competition. There are 5 divisions, a year-long points competition, major championships, elevated events, and much, much more. Right now, there are over 6,000 members in 41 different local chapters across the country, and all that's happened in just over 5 years. Join now and don't miss out on the best tournament golf in the country, run for amateurs by amateurs themselves. Go to amateurplayerstour.com. That's amateurplayerstour.com.
ESPN show rolls on with Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin as we come to you from the CarShield Studios, and as always presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. Kind enough to join us in studio, Jeff Smith, managing partner, Walter Golf Management. Jeff, always good to see you. See you around town, but great to have you in studio.
Good to see you. I was going to send you an email, and I looked back at some of the conversations we had over the years. It was a lot of fun.
It really was. And I know, Jay, you two know each other quite well.
Oh, absolutely. We go too far back. I mean, it's probably too far back.
Well, North County.
Yeah, which is too far.
Which is too far.
Yeah, it is too far, but we probably don't have enough time nor enough interest to start covering that.
What is Walter Golf Management for people that don't know?
So Walter's Golf Management is the largest regional golf course management company of its kind, housed here in St. Louis. I've got 3 great partners, Lucy Mitchell, Aaron Gleason, and Kelly Kirchhoff, all of which at one time were employees of the company. So we're very proud of that. We own and operate a series of golf courses, mainly operate today, and it's what we do. We help private clubs, public golf courses, municipal. We've worked with financial institutions. We consult. We've done just about everything there is in the game.
Give us a list of Walters Golf in terms of the clubs that you have around town. You got a list of who's who, man. If you want to play golf, you can find a good golf course.
Well, on the Illinois side, you can start with Gateway National and Stonewolf, Far Oaks, Yorktown, which is a unique 18-hole lit par 3 that, believe it or not, was designed by Bob Golby and Pete Dye.
I didn't know Pete Dye had a hand in that,
yep.
Smitty.
He came in and helped Golby with it. It was really the first kind of design work Bob had done. So Pete came in and helped him, and you'll notice one thing that's unique about the golf course is the way that it's built. It all builds back to the center. So, at the time, Dye knew that predominantly the average player cut the ball, sliced the ball. So it was all to keep it in the golf course. So it was neat. Then we're involved with the Normandy Project. We managed that for over 15 years. So the Metropolitan Golf Foundation, that project's being driven by Tom O'Toole. Really, it wouldn't be where is right now without Tom. Oddly enough, Tom had a meeting this morning down in Florida with Mr. Nicholas.
How much fun would that be? To pick his brain?
Oh, I've had the opportunity. I've ridden the golf course twice with Jack. You would expect him to be this, like, bigger than life kind of person, which in our minds he is. But, to cite you an example, the first time we rode the golf course, we get to 18 and we're just sitting in a cart, and obviously we had security in the parking lot, and then we look across the way and there's 3 guys standing there on the corner. Somehow, some way they knew he was there. And Jack looked over at him and he goes, "Just 3 of them?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, a little light today, Jack." And he goes, wave them over. They came over. Awesome. They had flags, and he signed them. And he just a guy's guy, a family guy. He's raised all this money in both Ohio and in Southern Florida for children's health care, and now he's coming to here to do this project, which is going to benefit the youth of that Beyond Housing 24/1 footprint. It's just so cool. And then you go farther west, we've got Heritage at Hawk Ridge, which is a senior community executive golf course, and then Innsbrook Resort and Woods Fort Golf Club. We had a clubhouse fire at Woods Fort
just a week ago.
A week ago, 409 on Sunday was a week, and what my partner Lucy Mitchell and the staff out there have done in a week is incredible. They're playing golf again. They were actually playing golf 2 days after the fire, and great partnership group out there. They're ready to rebuild and continue on a trek. If you haven't been out there, that is a golf course you got to go see. Then we're involved with Cape Girardeau Country Club down in Cape, Sullivan Golf Club in Sullivan, Missouri, which is a great municipal track, and then the Oaks, which is a private country club in Mexico, Missouri.
You're busy.
Well, we try to keeps us out of the pool hall, as my dad said.
Smitty, one of the things that people may or may not know is that you were the executive director for the Gateway section for 10 years.
10 years, from 1986 until 1995 when I was paroled. No, I'm kidding. Those guys were great to me. It was my really first experience in golf course administration. It was the time at which I originally met and worked closely with Tom O'Toole. Those two factions, the professional and the amateur bodies, really didn't play well on the playground together. And Tommy and I kind of changed that. We moved into the same office. We bought the Town and Country Firehouse in City Hall for the PGA office, and then offered the Metropolitan Golf Association the opportunity to move in and share that building. It was kind of golf house for us.
In terms of Normandy, I want to go back to that. We get questions all the time. What's it going to look like? Where are you at this point? So I'll ask you about those kind of things. What's it going to look like? Where are you at? When do you think about reopening? All those things that go into it.
Well, it is between 4 and 5 years worth of plan and preparation is about to come to fruition. Right? We did 21 acres of clearing before we closed the golf course in November. We were able to do that while the golf course was operational. And it was just that old overgrown honeysuckle. And when Jack came in the first time, he took a ride around the golf course, and his lead designer had done 2 routings. So we went round and round on the second routing, and after 2 hours, Jack said, "Time out, guys. This golf course has been here over 120 years. It stood the test of time. Let's go back to number 1. Let's work off of the original routing, and let's see if we can fix a lot of the things that they couldn't do in 1901 when the golf course was built." So the new golf course will be one that you will remember from the routing, because the routing is eerily similar, yet it will be a very different golf course. Take, for instance, Jay, you'll remember this vividly. The first hole, you drive it over the top of the hill, and you pray nobody's standing on the other side.
Right.
So now the tee comes back a little bit. That hillside gets pushed down toward the tee, and I'll only be able to see you from the waist up, but I'll be able to see a lot more of Delsing.
Right. Well, he's 6'5". What do you expect?
Delsing got a massive head on my shoulders.
So, like a house cat.
Yeah. That's right.
So the golf course is going to be splendid. Water features are being built, as you guys may or may not know.
Did not know that, yeah.
The golf course today does not have a water source. So 100% of the water has to be purchased from the county. Other than labor, it is the number one most expensive line item on our budget. So we'll be able to house enough water to irrigate the golf course while also helping the Metropolitan Sewer District, because all that water that comes out of that Bell-Knower watershed will be used over and over and over again by the golf course instead of flowing downstream. And there's been a lot of talk. Everybody knows there have been, downstream issues, University City most namely, and down through the River de Pere all the way to the river. And we've taken great pains to think about the environment, think of the community. Right now there's a lot of tree clearing going on. Well, most people don't know how bad a shape those trees were really in. So, we originally planned on doing a lot of logging the trees coming out of there. Unfortunately, they're so unhealthy. And then we've worked with the arborist at Beyond Housing, and there'll be selective tree replanting. So anybody that sees the trees coming down that's concerned, don't worry. The product, $20 million is being invested in this community from donations from philanthropic people and philanthropic corporations. And the goal is to raise it all, to have no debt, so that we will be able to play a number of public rounds, still leaving room for all the programmatic work. It will be the flagship headquarters of the First Tee. It will house Jerome Harris's Urban Golf Group. There will be a caddy program in connection with the Western Golf Association. Entire caddy house is being built with a teen tech center and also a regular caddy house as you would know it. So the three of us go out and we decide we're going to play and we want to take a caddy. That will be fully funded. Your responsibility will be to spend 4.5 hours with a young man or a young woman who otherwise wouldn't come in contact with somebody with your experience, and in exchange for that, your caddy round will be paid for by the WGA, and your only responsibility is a gratuity.
It's just amazing, Smitty. You think about what Chris and Beyond Housing has done, and the term "it takes a village" has never been more appropriate than what's happened here.
No question. And, again, I'll give kudos to O'Toole, because O'Toole, when he looked at this originally, a group came to him, and they were looking at doing a for-profit model and just redoing the golf course. And Tom said it just didn't resonate with him. He didn't have a great history with Normandy. He's a South Side kid. And he called me a couple days later and said, there's got to be a philanthropic way to save this golf course. So we started working on it, and Tom went, found Chris Krameyer, found that we needed a community development partner, and lo and behold.
He's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
The whole thing is utterly amazing. And I told Tommy, when this is done, they won't remember that you formed the Metropolitan Amateur Golf Association. They might remember that you were USGA president, but they will remember that you put this project together.
Well, and within that, you talked about the WGA, and I don't want to say the resurrection, but the Evans Scholarship Program, Smitty, is one of these things that has been around since you and I have been kids for a hell of a long time, that I don't think enough of the community knows about, because so many of these things go unutilized. And to be able to provide, I'm going to say, almost like a hub up in North County for that area, it couldn't be better. There's so much need.
So think about it, Jay. You're familiar with the Evans Scholar House at Mizzou. There's 20 beds in that house filled with kids from Chicago. Not because they're from Chicago, but because we can't fill those beds with Missouri kids.
It's insane.
The kids that are caddying today, in most cases, don't meet the financial need. Well, every young man and every young woman that caddies at Normandy from the neighborhood, the majority of the cases, will meet the financial need. Yep. We can be the feeder program to fill those 20 beds. That's
Missouri
20
kids again.
20
Absolutely.
scholarships a year. You know, what's room, board, tuition, and books worth at University of Missouri today? Probably $120,000 or more.
I was going to say at least $25,000 to $30,000 a year.
Say $150,000. You know, that's 20 of them.
Yep.
You know, that's a lot of money.
Absolutely. Jeff Smith is our guest, managing partner, Walters Golf Management. I want to go back to Jack Nicklaus for just a moment. When you're riding with him, how does he see the golf?
Besides pinching yourself, go ahead.
How does he see the golf course and envision something that you don't see or others see? What is it that he's got? And I know he's done this before. I know he's played countless rounds of golf and all those things. But what does he see that maybe the average golfer doesn't?
I'll tell you a story. First time he came in, first time he'd seen the golf course, we rode the golf course. And because, you know, Jack is doing this out of the kindness of his heart, don't think he's mailing it in, because he's not. We were out there for over 6 hours the first time he was there. And at the time, I think the man was 83 years old. And we went all the way around, back and forth and here and there and everywhere. And we get back in the clubhouse and we sit down. Now, Jack has not touched a pencil. And he says, okay, let's recap what we're going to do here. Number one, we're going to bring that hillside down. We're going to change that greens complex a little bit. We're going to move it back about 30 yards, and we're going to fix this tee, move it back a little bit, make it much more of a playable golf hole. And then we get to number two, and he goes all the way to the 14th.
That's awesome.
To the 14th hole. And he said 14. I said, it's the hole, Jack. I told you you had more room on the left than you thought. I got it. He goes all the way through, and Tom goes, Jack, that's 20 holes. He said, yeah, that's my job. Now I got to go back and figure out which are the best 18 for us to use. And he never picked up a pencil. He never took one note.
That's amazing.
You know, Smitty, there's something about we golfers that there's this thing in our head. I told Danny, we can go play, and I'll watch him play, and I'll watch you play, and I'll watch our fourth play, and go in the 19th hole and have a cocktail or lunch or whatever we have. And I can go back and tell you exactly what you made on every hole, what club you hit, where your ball went. There's something that happens when you play enough that just you can't outrun this sort of stuff.
You can't add 2 and 2, but you'll tell me from last summer what I did on certain holes.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. If he's going to start talking about his game, I'm going to get a golf cart.
and it'll be a long back nine.
I'd be remiss, by the way, if I didn't ask you about a couple of people that were instrumental in our community and also in golf. But Jay Jr., you were very close to, and also our friend Bubba, Jim Gessling.
Yeah, Jay is still a struggle for me. I don't know. It's funny the way I get emotional when I think about Jay and Jimmy, because Jimmy introduced Patty and I have been married for 30 years this year, and Jay was my best man. So, and of course Jimmy was in the wedding. I didn't have a choice there. You know, he'd been in about 50. I think he wasn't getting it nosed
America's
out.
guest, man. Yeah. You know that.
He was America's guest. Bernie Miklasz said it best. He said, I went to a party one night and Jimmy was there. And then I got up and left and went to another place, and then Jimmy was there. And then I went to Obie Clark's and Jimmy was there. Yeah. He said, I was convinced there was two of them.
Yeah. He was amazing. Yeah, he was amazing.
Amazing guy. He put a lot of people together. Both of them gone way too soon, but I'll give both of them credit. They got more years out of the life they lived than the number of years they were on Earth.
We're gonna just make a tribute this entire show to Jay Jr. as the golf season gets kicked off. I mean, there's so many of us that miss him terribly, and it just doesn't seem right from the golf sense. No disrespect to Jimmy, but from the golf sense, to not have Junior around, and that voice, that laugh, that, you know, my man, and I don't think he liked anybody more than Tiger. Nobody like a lot of people like Tiger Woods. Junior had a Jones for Tiger Woods.
Daddy didn't like Lost and Found. They called him Daddy at a lot of places, and he used to complain all the time on the air about up at Normandy. He'd say, look at this stuff, you know, a lost putter cover and iron covers. And he said, Daddy is out of the lost and found business.
I remember that. I loved it. It was so funny.
Oh,
funny.
He could make a joke about anything, but he had forgotten more about the game than most people knew. I mean,
he could play. He could play.
Oh,
and that gets
day,
way overlooked.
In his day, I mean, he went to South Carolina, played for Steve Liebler on a golf scholarship. He was on the same team with Brett Quigley, who, as Jay and I talked about, has made a lot of money out there on the tour. Jay was a good player. He was a really good player. And he got things that other people didn't get. You know, one day out at the mountain course, Lee Trevino was watching him hit balls in the rain. And when he got done, you know, Jay Jr. said, "Mr. Trevino, thank you so much for watching me hit balls. It really means the world to me." He said, "Son, don't let it mean too much to you, because if it wasn't for your old man, I wouldn't be out here."
Right. Jeff, I got to ask you, when you're managing all these golf courses, what have you seen since the pandemic in terms of just the explosion, if you will, or the interest in the game of golf, but specifically here in St. Louis?
Well, over the course of the last 2 decades plus, not only here in St. Louis, but nationwide, the game was shrinking. And COVID brought a lot of people back to the game and a lot of people into the game. You know, it may be one of the very few fortunate things that came out of COVID. Now, the thing that I would tell you is everybody would think, okay, everybody goes back to work, or some people went back to work, or sometimes I'm not sure anybody works anymore.
No doubt.
But the game has not shrunk back to pre-COVID standards. People have continued to play. It has continued to grow. And I see new faces. I mean, I'm getting old, and I've been around these places a long time. I mean, it's hard to believe. Gateway National's been here 26 years.
I can't believe that.
26 years. Woodsport, 1994.
Wow.
I mean, been here a long, long time. So I see new faces every single day.
You know, Smitty, Top Golf has had a big impact in bringing people to the game as well. As you start bringing in some of the sim leagues, there's just been this explosion that I guess my question is, can we sustain it? How do we keep folks engaged?
All right, well, green grass people were scared to death of Top Golf because they were afraid it was going to take people away from the game. I tell you quite the opposite. People that were afraid to come to the golf course went to Top Golf and then came
to the green
because
grass.
They feel more comfortable. I think more things like Top Golf need to continue to happen to continue to grow the game. You know, there's not a lot of golf courses being built. We're to a point now, not as many are being closed, which is a good thing. You know, I would tell you for a while, we just flat had too many golf courses for the number of players. You know, I start thinking about those that are gone, you know, your favorite, North Shore, up there at
God rest its soul.
270
It was
Riverview.
a lousy golf course, and it's a half-ass bean field now. It's awful.
Oh, but in its day, it was probably pretty good.
And a great place to sleigh ride. Don't forget that. And this is where the North County, we really shine, because we get up on the par 3, number 4. It is wonderful because it was straight downhill, probably 8-9% grade, with 2 huge humps in it, so you caught air. And then because we were that smart, we just rolled right
across
out
the green,
right
across Riverview
right across the
Avenue.
green and right across Riverview, which, you know, had plenty of 18-wheelers going through there all the time.
My dad tells the story about, he says, you know how old I am. We used to do the same thing on Fairgrounds Park and go straight over Highway 70.
Jeff Smith is our guest and a managing partner at Walters Golf Management. You have done so much for the game of golf, and you don't get recognized enough. I mean that sincerely. What are you most proud of the accomplishments and the things that you've done here in town?
I don't think of them as necessarily accomplishments. You know, Tom and I describe it as our journey because, you know, when my involvement in the game started, his was already begun. And, you know, things like the Gateway PGA Junior program. Hale Irwin's clubs for kids. Hale was really good to us for all those years. Brett Hull jumped in when Hale couldn't do it. And we introduced a lot of kids to the game. So my tenure at Bogey Hills, my tenure with the Bogey Hills Invitational, my tenure at the Gateway PGA, going to work for Walters Golf Management, the golf courses we developed, the lessons learned from Denny Walters, and now working with Lucy and Aaron and Kelly on new things. I think the game's given a lot more to me than I've given to the game. What's next then for you? What are you working on now? You mentioned Normandy, obviously, but there's other things. You said you have new projects coming. What can we look forward to? I think the neatest thing we've done of late was we built our own StubHub type platform for golf. So we built a dynamic pricing system that has a lot of features that benefit the player. You know, the right price for the right person at the right time. So no matter what, if you want to play Gateway National, there's a time you can afford. It's just as the dynamic pricing takes place, and, you know, Joe Strom from the St. Louis Cardinals was ultimately the guy that convinced me that dynamic pricing would work, because I said, you know, come on, Joe, my customers are going to pay different prices. And he said, you sound exactly like me when we went to it. I mean, when you get on a Southwest Airlines plane, do you really believe anybody paid the same price? No. And it's the way things are today. And it's allowed us to do new things. And, you know, the way we've been able to increase revenue at a place like Stonewolf allowed us, in conjunction with the help of our partners there, to just completely redo the clubhouse. There's a brand new, we call it the Venue, a brand new wedding and banquet and event space that has become very popular. So I think Golf Geek Software is what it's called, and it's implemented, it's in place at all of our facilities, our public facilities, and we're just beginning to get ready to scale it nationally. Smitty, we got to give a shout out to Bogey Hills. You want to talk about a beautiful clubhouse and what you guys have done out there in terms of banquet facilities. That place is absolutely stunning. Yeah, I'd like to say us, but I mean, it's the Walters family, and the Walters family led by Angel Likens, or Angel Walters Likens, who took the helm as Denny got a little bit older, Denny's daughter, and they've done fantastic things. They have members who jumped in when they had their tragic fire, you know, which I would bet has been a decade or more ago. I was going to say 15 years ago, maybe. Time goes fast, but, you know, that golf course started as an overgrown 9-hole golf course that Denny's dad, an eye doctor in Old St. Charles, built. I mean, he bought it, mowed it down. He used to say with a with a horticultures and a drunken plumber, he put it back together. So then they built the other 9. Then Denny decided if Dad could do it, he could do it. So he joined Bob Whitaker, and they built Whitmore and the Bluffs and Links at Dardenne and the Golf Club of Winsville together. And then Tim Crowley and I got involved with Denny on Gateway. And then Tim and our group bought Stonewolf. And, you know, it's been a great run. What's neat about the Walters family, and that the fact that there's not really a Walters in the Walters Golf Management side, is that the lineage that they have at Bogey Hills. I can remember meeting Denny's dad, you know, as a kid and playing for the first couple times over there now. And you look at, see, that Bogey Hills is a massive part of that community over there. It's a focal point. Yeah, it is. And, you know, most people forget about the Bogey Hills Invitational, which they literally referred to as the Masters of the Mini Tour. Guys playing for $350,000. You know, when they started. But this is back in the day. Yeah. When they pre-Ben Hogan Tour. And when the Ben Hogan Tour started, the purses on a weekly basis were $100,000. Dean Beeman said, no, I don't want anybody to make a living on the Ben Hogan Tour. I wanted to be the minor league catalyst to the PGA Tour, which it has become.
Yeah, the feeder.
But 350,000 they were playing for. Field of 256. It was a huge field. It was. I mean, you want to learn how to run. You want to learn how to run a golf tournament. Double shotgun, front and back on the longest weekend of the year. It was something. But we had a lot of major champions play there. John Daly played there. Lee Jansen played there.
Did Zach
Payne Stewart played there.
I think Zach was too young.
Zach was too young. I think at one time we counted 7 major champions once played, but I remember the likes of Jim Gallagher Jr. There was Alan Pate. Remember him?
I do remember Alan
Fairhope,
Pate.
Alabama.
Yep, Alan Pate.
He was out there for a long time. Greg Kraft.
Yep.
Maybe got in the biggest argument in the history of my life with Greg Kraft. I don't think he's gotten any bigger, so I don't think he wants to reinitiate.
I should have taken him down.
I should have dunked his head in the water right then.
I know you were thinking of it.
I was thinking of it. But, you say there's not a Walters in our business anymore. Lucy and I worked for Denny for a long time. There's a lot of Denny that we'll never cleanse ourselves of.
Whether you wanted to or not, right?
His dad, I loved his dad, Doc. His dad, the club was almost full, no matter how many members there were. But if you walked in and you wanted to join, there was always room for one more.
Absolutely.
Always room for one more.
Go get that application.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff, this has been great.
Oh, my gosh.
It's been
so
great.
much fun.
Thanks for coming in.
I've enjoyed it. I haven't seen enough of you lately. It's great to see you. And Jay and I talked about it. We used to talk a lot more than we do now. You go one way, he goes the other. But it's nice to get back together.
Thanks for doing it.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
It's Jeff Smith, managing partner, Walters Golf Management. Back with more on Golf with Jay Delsing in a moment.
Are you driving an out-of-warranty car? It's only a matter of time before your out-of-warranty vehicle is in the shop costing you thousands of dollars. Auto repair costs are up nearly 20% from last year, which is 4 times the rate of inflation. If an unexpected breakdown happened today, would you be ready for that? Well, now you can be with a plan through CarShield. Even if your car is just over 3 years old, it's still prone to expensive costs. Your car is more than just getting you from point A to point B. Traveling by car is a way of life. From picking up your kids to going to a new restaurant, cars are a daily essential. When you enroll in a car protection plan through CarShield, you can look forward to the following. The price will never go up no matter how many claims you file, or no matter how high the mileage on your car increases. CarShield offers protection plans that start as low as $100 per month. That's $100 per month. They have repair coverage for up to 5,000 different parts of your vehicle. Plus, when your car breaks down and you're stuck on the side of the road, you get 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance. You also get complimentary towing and rental car options. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down, and they can have yours too. Call CarShield today at 800-465-6550 or visit carshield.com. It's CarShield, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
This is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center located in Kirkwood. Our motto is play your best golf. We have the best instruction for every skill level. 2 female instructors along with our 8 PGA instructors. We're there for the kids and the adults who are starting to play and trying to refine their game. Family Golf and Learning Center features a double-decker driving range, grass tees, and a short game area, along with indoor simulators and a performance center. That's not all. Don't forget about our Back Nine Bar and Grill. Find out how we can help you and your family. Head to FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. It's Family Golf and Learning Center, where we make St. Louis better at golf.
This is Jay Delsing coming to you from the CarShields Golf Studios. I hope you'll join me Sunday mornings from 8 to 10 for Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. That's Golf with Jay Delsing every Sunday morning on 101 ESPN.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient, It's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Mano's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Mano's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Mano's, located in Chesterfield.
This is Chris Nagel. And you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Call this Golf with Jay Delsing. You hear it every Sunday morning on 101 ESPN, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions, coming to you from the CarShield Studios. What a nice long visit that was with Jeff Smith, doing great things in our community. And I want to get into this, but working with Jack Nicklaus on a design of a golf course and taking us behind the scenes, pulling back the curtain with what Jeff is doing. I love that. That was a fun part of the interview.
Absolutely. And hats off again to our buddy Tom O'Toole for getting the great Jack Nicklaus involved in this thing. I mean, to have a Jack Nicklaus signature golf course in the North County area and to have Jack's got how about the caddy program they're setting up?
That's
Danny?
great.
How exciting is that? So when you and I go up there and play, we'll tip our caddy and,
it's going to a worthy cause.
It's just fantastic, man. I just love it, and I would love to see the resurgence of the Evans Scholarship and to see some young men and young women start taking advantage of that. I hate the fact that Evans house down in Columbia, Missouri has nothing but Chicago kids in it. No offense to the Chicago kids. It's just that we've got kids here that if they knew about this thing would take advantage of it. I mean, it's a $250,000 thing waiting for you to just do the minimal amount of work to get in there and snatch it.
How many times have you played Normandy? I can't imagine how many times you played.
Man,
I mean, I know
we
just counted it was $1.17 million at Norwood, so this is just slightly below
exactly.
that.
We played a lot at Normandy. Man, it's been years and years since I played over there, but I played the St. Louis Open there a couple times as an amateur. I played with Chuck Thorpe, Jim Thorpe's brother. It was terrifying. He was like 6'7" and smashed the golf ball, built like a linebacker. Yeah, Jim Thorpe is the youngest of 5 brothers, and he's the smallest.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, Chuck was big. Anyway, we had a lot of fun. My dad, we told that story. My dad grabbing a golf ball, a pro's golf ball, and anyway, we'll tell that story once again sometime. But yeah, Normandy.
No, go back to that.
Okay, so
this is great.
So we were playing with a lot of players in the field, and so the play was really slow. We get to I forget the short par 3 down the hill, and there's so many the old routing at Normandy had so many crisscrossing. You know, you're sitting here on this tee, and there's a fairway just right off to your right, so balls were flying everywhere. And there was a guy. I'm probably 16, 17, 18 years old, something like that. And there was a guy that used to be an assistant at Norwood Hills when I was caddying named Bobby Eldridge. So Bobby Eldridge was playing as a pro in the St. Louis Open. And I see we've got 2 groups on the tee, and I'm sitting around waiting for something to do. And I look over, and Bobby's looking for a ball, and I'm like, I'll just go help him look for a ball. You know, I'm a ball hawker. I love looking for balls.
We played last Wednesday, and you had like 10 that you found.
Yeah, and I just give them to whoever wants them.
And they weren't the 10 off my club or Joe's club or your club.
I find yours. I try you.
You always find mine.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're looking around, and I look over at my dad, and I just notice he's got a golf ball in his back pocket. And I thought, oh, man. And I said, Bobby. No, I went to my dad first, and I said, Dad, did you pick up a golf ball? And he said, yeah, I was just sitting over. And I went, Bobby, what number are you playing? And he said, Titleist 2. And I looked at my dad, and my dad goes, it's the Titleist 2.
Oh,
and I
no.
went, Dad, where was it? I mean, be precise.
Yeah.
And my dad tossed it out of his hand. It rolls up into the base of this tree. And he goes, it was right there. And I'm like, are you for real?
You're gonna have to
Bobby
tell
was apoplectic. He was going crazy. He was like, you got to be kidding
and
me.
You can't blame him.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Dad, was that where it was? And he goes, no, it truly was right up against that tree. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I can tell you what, my dad wasn't giving that up. He wanted that Titleist, and he had it in his pocket. And when he had to give it back, he didn't care where it went. And I was like, oh no.
It's great.
But that was over at Normandy. Normandy's just got great history. Just great history. So the fact that it's not going away, the fact that it can be this gem up in North County, where we can get some of the neighborhood kids involved in the game that they currently haven't been involved in the game. Give them a place to go. Give them a place to hang out, learn the game, make some money. Just something different, Danny, just to give those young men and women something different to choose.
Pretty amazing that Jack can look over a course for 6 hours and envision what it should be, what the next version is going to look like. I found that just fascinating.
I did too. I mean, and that doesn't surprise me with someone like him. I mean, Danny, he's built over 300 or 400 golf courses around the world. I mean, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
He, he's 84 years old now. And
well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What is it specifically about a Nicklaus design? What is he trying to do? And maybe we'll see some of that with Normandy.
Yeah, so Jack is typically very generous off the tee. Hence, wasn't the greatest driver of the ball. No offense to Jack, the greatest player probably of all time, and he wasn't the straightest driver of the ball. So he usually gives quite a bit of room off the tee. And whenever he likes his holes moving left to right, where his fade was. Whenever there's holes moving right to left, they're usually shortish. So you have to hit something, you can hit something less than driver off of. That's back in the old days. But one of the things that Jack's golf courses always have, now he has very severe greens, very undulating greens, but he has surfaces that are usually pure. So they're very slopey, hard to hit, hard to keep your ball on them sometimes, hard to get the balls up and down on them, Danny, but they are smooth and really usually pretty true. So I'm really excited to see what kind of greens Normandy comes up with.
So are we also talking about clubhouse renovation, adding to it? What are we talking about in that regard to the other amenities outside the golf course?
Everything is going to be nothing there, Danny, was even worth trying to salvage, But what I thought was really interesting was Jack saying, because I've been through this in my head. I would love to design a golf course, and I've been through this in my head I don't know how many times, D. And I'm thinking, how would I route that golf course? How would I reroute that? Now, I don't know how much additional land they're going to be able to add because Jeff Smitty talked about all the clearing of the trees and everything. Yeah. So I don't know how much additional land that can help a lot. But, I mean, he's going to be able to extend certain holes. He's going to be able to do things because of clearing out some of the honeysuckle and just some of the scrub that's grown up over the years. But I was really interested to see what Jack was going to come up with. And turns out he's like, what the hell, man? This course has been around since whenever. I mean, since the 1900s, I think. Let's just keep the routing the same. Let's just enhance it, add a couple of little things here and there. And, Smitty said Jack had 20 holes designed and he only needs 18. He goes, now I got to figure out which two to get rid of.
And you said it. I interrupted you. I apologize. But he's 84.
84.
Doing this at the age of 84. That to me is just amazing part of this too. He's still so sharp. He and his wife Barbara, as Jeff mentioned, have raised so much money for children's charities and the hospitals, not only in Columbus, Ohio, but down in South Florida. So it's pretty amazing at the age 84 to give back as much as he has to mankind, but also to the game of golf.
Oh, no question. Ditto, 100%. Feel exactly the same way. Well, hell, Danny, you got a chance to interview him several times, I think one-on-one and with he and Tom Watson and some other things like that. And there's something that's just, he's got such a calm about him, doesn't he?
He made me feel comfortable. Yeah. And I don't get overly overwhelmed at all with anybody I visit with, somebody I meet. Done it enough times. I just don't get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Not that I was overwhelmed with him, but I knew I was in the presence of greatness, and he made me feel comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just appreciated that.
Yeah, he's that kind of guy. And the Nicklases, I think when we had Barbara on the show a couple months ago, she said that they've raised over $200 million since
close to 300, I think is what it was.
Yeah. And I know they've got three children's hospitals named after them, and it's just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just incredible what he and that brand has done for the game and for our communities.
All right, you ready for some emails?
Yeah, let's do it.
You can email Jay at jdelsinggolf.com. Gets a lot of emails throughout the week, Jay at jdelsinggolf.com. Angie in South City, what's the best advice to get started in golf? I want to play. Hear you guys talk on Sundays. I don't play. What's the best advice to get started in the game of golf?
Well, I think the best advice is to probably go to someone like Adam Betts over at Family Golf and Learning Center, Angie, and just say hello to Adam and let him do his magic. I mean, there's a great new training facility. We've Elevate Golf that's coming in, but you're not quite there yet, Angie. So to get into the game, you need a set of clubs and you need to get the basics, and that's If that doesn't scream Adam Betts and Family Golf and Learning Center and his team down there, nothing does. I think they've got a 9-hole golf course that's par threes, so you can get out there and ease your way into the game. They can help you with the etiquette of the game, how the game is played, whose turn it is, and then you'll start figuring out what clubs to use from what distances. That's Adam, man. That's what Family Golf and Learning Center does.
I have people ask me with kids, because they know my kids play, like, how do you get them involved in golf? And I said, put a club in their hands.
Yeah.
Let them start just swing it, see what happens. Exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing how much, your kids are good. It's amazing how you put a club in a little kid's hand, how supple they are, how much they turn, and they watch it on TV or something like that, Danny, and it gets even better.
All right, this is Mike in Baldwin. Heard you guys talking about the new putter that Scotty was using. I need help on my putting. Give me putting drills. We've talked a lot about the clock drill.
Absolutely.
There's got to be other things you can do too.
Absolutely. So the clock drill, we'll just briefly go over it again. 4 balls, 2 feet apart, all the way around the hole, and you knock all 4 in. Then once you do that, you go to 3 feet. 4 balls around the hole. You basically, Mike, have to make 12 putts. Sounds pretty simple, right? But after the 3 feet, you've made those first 8. Now you go to 4-footers, and you got to knock 4-footers in a row to be done with the drill. And here's a caveat: if you miss,
start it over.
Start it over, baby. You got to start it over.
Put a little pressure on yourself.
Yeah, so you put a little pressure on yourself. You work on your short putting. It's a phenomenal drill. Here's a couple of drills for you to work on your speed of your putting. Get 30, 40, 50 feet from the hole. Get ready to hit the putt. And right before you hit the putt, look at the hole and stroke the putt. So you're not looking down at the ball. All you're left with, Mike, is feel. Now, you can do the exact same thing without pulling your head towards the hole. Just close your eyes. That will absolutely freak your system out. You won't know if you're going to hit the ball or not. It may take you a couple times to figure out just exactly how to do it. But the hit of the ball on your putter will give you such great feedback that you're going to know, oh, no, I didn't hit that ball well. I hit that ball out on the heel, or I hit on the bottom of the putter. It's fantastic. And then you look up and you relate the putt to the feel and go, oh, okay, I hit that weak and on the heel. That's why it went short and out to the right. Or I hit that hard and I pulled it. That's long and left. You'll start relating that. That's all you really need. Then we have oodles and oodles more drills, but those right there are plenty. Get yourself distances from the hole that you typically are going to see throughout your rounds of golf. You're going to have a lot of 5, 10, and 15 footers, and even 20 footers for par, and you're going to have a lot of longish putts for pars and for birdies, maybe an occasional bogey. So get that out there. And the biggest thing about putting, Mike, is you got to think you're going to make every putt, and you try to make every putt. You're not concerned with where this ball goes before you hit it. All you're trying to do is hole every putt. I don't care if you're 100 feet from the hole or 1 foot from the hole. You're up there trying to hole that thing.
Heard you talk about the putting arc, too, as a device to help you with putting.
Love that putting arc, D. I think it's I was just going to get to that. Thank you for bringing that up. The putting arc is a very inexpensive putting aid that helps you duplicate your stroke, and you put the heel or the toe, whichever you prefer, of the putter on that arc, and you just move it up and down the line, and that's your stroke. Put a ball there, the ball just gets in the way and just gets hit, and you're going to start holding a lot of putts, especially a lot of short putts. And Danny, you can use that arc on some of your shorter putts. Get that 4 or 5 footer lined up. Get a left or righter that's a ball outside the hole, so you have to stroke it left of the hole and let the break take it in. Same with a right to lefter, depending on whether you're left or right putter, it doesn't matter. But get both breaking putts so that you can see those roll in.
This is Tommy in West County, struggling right now, Jay. Pulling the ball.
Tommy, come on over, man.
We're all in the same boat. Pulling the ball with my irons. I understand this is radio, but is there something that you can think of, grip or alignment-wise, that I'm doing wrong?
Yeah, so typically you're going to pull is that Tommy?
Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy. Typically, Tommy, you're going to pull if you're aimed too far the other direction. So your instincts know that if I make this good swing, it's going to go swinging out to the right. Let's say you're a right-handed golfer, so it's going to be swinging and headed out to the right of your target, so you're going to try to pull that thing over to give it a chance to go at your target. So check your alignment. And also, this goes hand in hand with that. Check your ball position. Typically speaking, that ball is in the wrong spot. It's either too far forward or too far back. Mostly too far forward, but there are occasions where a good player, and if Tommy's a good player, could have the ball back a little too far trying to sling that hook in there. So check your alignment, check your ball position. Your 6-iron should be in the middle of your stance with the ball, hand slightly forward of that, and go from there.
All right, this is Amy in Columbia, Illinois. Jay.
Columbia, Illinois. Love it over there.
Says, I cannot get out of a bunker. What should I do?
Well, we got to get your most lofted club, and we've got to get you using the bounce. So that's the very bottom of the wedge, and we want you to start slapping that bounce into the sand only about 2 inches, inch and a half or 2 inches behind the ball. Keep that face and putter head moving through the ball, through the sand, and so that the face of that wedge points to the sky throughout that swing. So you're not letting it roll over like you would on a full swing. That's enough where you just start splashing out 1.5 inches to 2 inches behind the ball, splashing out a little bit of sand, and keep the club moving through the sand and around to your left side for a right-handed golfer with that face pointed towards the sky. That's going to get you right out of those bunkers.
We go to Chris in Illinois. Generally speaking, Jay, where should the ball be placed in my stance with the different clubs?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chris. With the driver, it's the farthest on towards your forward foot, and then everything starts moving back towards the middle of your stance incrementally as your clubs get shorter. So your 3-wood's going to be inside that. Your fairway wood or your hybrid's going to be back a little further to the point where your 6-iron, 7-iron about right in the middle of your stance, and then you start getting that 8, 9, and your wedges are played slightly more towards your back foot with keeping your hands a little more forward. That'll help you get better contact. That'll help you hit crisp iron shots, and that'll help you take a nice little small divot when you get on past the ball.
What about the driver? Where do you want it?
All the way up. We want it. Wow, man. So when I was taught, the driver goes on your left instep of your left, of some right-handed golfer on your lead foot. Where some of the guys are hitting it now, it's 2 inches in front of their left foot.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. So let's go with somewhere between the outside of your lead foot and the instep, somewhere in there. So it's got to be forward. And here's the kicker about the driver, D. We talk about this all the time. It's not on the ground. Do not hit down on that ball. Sweep up on it and try to sweep it just off the tee so that you get a nice high flight on that driver.
Getting some good emails. We appreciate it. Jay at jdelsinggolf.com. Webster Groves and Pam. I'm a beginner. Let's talk about what happens at the beginning of a lesson. What am I doing?
Yeah.
She said she's nervous about trying to get out and start playing golf.
Of course, and Pam, we so appreciate you starting and picking up the game. And so what you're going to do, Pam, is get yourself ready. Make sure your clothes or you're wearing some gear that you can move in. Right? So you're going to make an athletic, be able to make an athletic move almost similar to like what you'd be doing going to yoga if it's cold out, doing anything in the summertime. Just get you some sort of athletic gear on. You probably are going to want a glove. If you're a right-handed golfer, you want to get a glove for your left hand. And then you basically, it probably wouldn't hurt to watch a couple of YouTube videos and grab an LPGA player and just watch him swing. Just watch the entire package. How as the club moves back again for a right-handed player, that your hands are up by your head and by your right ear, and then it comes to from that high point goes to a low point, strikes the ball, and then your hands move up. And they change places on the other side of your head, up above your head and over by your left ear. Just take it all in. Watch the balance on how they'll load up their trail, hip, and leg, and push and twist and thrust kind of through those shots. Yeah, just watch that a little bit. And the best way to say it, if you played softball, hit the ball like it's in the dirt. I want you to get your lower half of your body going first and just try to crack it with that golf club like it's a pitch in the dirt.
All right, final emails. We wind down the show. This is good.
Absolutely.
Kevin in Kirkwood, heard you talking about Jack Nicklaus. Jay, I know you played with both Tiger and Jack. You got one round to win. Who you taking?
Between Tiger and Jack?
You got it.
Oh, man. So, that's a great question, and I love that question. Unfortunately, Jack was at the end of his career. I did not get to see Jack but Jack was still absolutely fantastic. I would have to say, and I'm a massive Nicklaus fan, if you put them, I think Tiger had a little more firepower because the speed at which he played, and Tiger had some better wedge work than Jack. Jack was, I only saw that, or heard this, I never saw this, but they said that if Jack had a weakness, it was that he wasn't a great wedge player, and Tiger is a magician around the green. So that's a really tough question.
I
That's
know
like,
it is.
if you got to have somebody play center field, do you want Willie Mays or Joe DiMaggio?
Right.
You're like, yeah, I'll take either one of those. But I love the questions, and I love the emails. I love how our inbox is getting filled up, Danny.
It is at jdelsingolf.com. Our thanks to Jeff Smith, managing partner at Walters Golf Management. Also, Miller Brady in hour number one, the president of the Champions Tour. And Jay, is always a lot of fun to be with you and a great show.
Yeah, you too, Danny. Thanks for being with me, and hit 'em straight, St. Louis.